What's up, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to go over what actually causes mood swings, irritability, just you don't have patience for people. It's a pretty common occurrence. I used to deal with this myself a good bit. So we're going to go through the reasons why that happens and also a couple things that you can start to implement to start to work on improving these. Life's so much better when you're just not snippy all the time, right? All right, if you don't know me, my name is Dr. James Nall. I'm a chiropractor. I used to practice functional medicine years ago. I gave it all up because I realized it's nothing more than an expensive wild goose chase. It makes you feel like you're doing something to heal, but at the end of the day, you're not really. So in 2016, I came across medical medium information. I've been doing that ever since. Never looked back. It is the most interesting thing out there in the world. I do coaching to help people heal and reverse their chronic health issues. But I understand not everyone's going to be willing or able to do a coaching program with me. So I did want to provide some free value for those of you who are looking to DIY some medical medium principles, because I see so many people start medical medium and then they get knocked off track because they don't understand something. They don't have any support. And, you can do it yourself, but there's so many layers of understanding and so much nuance that goes into adapting these protocols for each person's situation that, hopefully this finds you and helps to keep you on track to reach your health goals. All right, let's get into it so you can understand why your mood is a bit unstable and what you can do to fix it. So 3 main causes when we're talking about mood issues, right? So number 1, neurotransmitters, which are in the brain, those are depleted. Those are weakened. That can happen for a variety of different reasons. But when your brain signals are just not strong, that can spill over to you don't have the energy, you don't have the patience to deal with people's bullshit. And we can definitely increase the strength of those neurotransmitters pretty naturally. And then there's the liver. The liver gets overburdened. The liver is tied into just about every chronic health issue. It's not a root cause because it's just a part of your body, but learning how to support and take pressure off of your liver is paramount in healing anything, and certainly mood issues. And then there's toxic heavy metals, which everyone has. If you're old enough to be alive right now and watching this video, you were born with toxic heavy metals somewhere in your body. So they can be in your liver, but they can also be in your brain. So we'll talk about what goes on there. And a lot of people have a combination of all of these 3 things playing a role behind their mood issues, right? And why they are just kind of angry all the time, or why they snap seemingly out of nowhere. They have a short fuse. All of these things come into play. So let's talk about more what's going on in each of these so you can understand how this pertains to you. And also a couple tips on what you can do to start improving these right away. All right, so when we talk about neurotransmitters, as I mentioned before, there are several different reasons why these can get depleted. Think just a toxic overload inside the body, not doing the right things with diet, not properly hydrated. All these things come into play and weaken the neurotransmitters over time. It's not something that you're going to notice like that. Typically, it's more of a gradual progression. But when we think about neurotransmitters, we should think about electrolytes. And please, if your mind just jumped to like Gatorade or electrolyte packets or electrolyte powders that you pour into your water, that stuff is garbage. Do not waste your money on that. We need natural electrolytes in whole foods. So what are the top 3 ways to get those? Number 1, when you drink water, just squeeze some fresh lemon or lime juice in there. That's infinitely better and more useful than anything you're going to get out of a powder. Lemons and limes have healthy mineral salts. They have what your body needs. Next up, we have coconut water. Now, if you're drinking coconut water, just make sure it's not red or pink. That means that the coconut has gone rancid. Believe it or not, you don't want to be drinking that. Make sure there's no funny ingredients like citric acid in there. So look for a clean coconut water packed with easy to use electrolytes. And then the number 1 source of electrolytes is going to be fresh celery juice. Comes with complete They're completed electrolytes. So your body doesn't have to do anything else, has everything you need. It's actually the only form of complete electrolytes that we have access to. That's just one of the many reasons why you hear people in the medical medium world talk about celery juice all the time. Stuff is incredible. Even if it doesn't blow you away the first week or the first month, and I don't know if it's doing anything, you got if you're taking your health seriously, you're going to be drinking celery juice. So mineral salts, that's the name of the game. It's not the salt that you get from Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt or whatever. That's not from a whole food source. We need it from a whole food source. We need healthy mineral salts. So no powders, no salts, no sea salts, anything like that. That's not what we want. That's going to have a net negative impact on your overall health, believe it or not. It does. And then I wanted to mention GABA, because GABA is your main inhibitory neurotransmitter that calms everything down. And thankfully, there's an amazing supplement form that we can just take. That's a nice one to take if we have mood issues. And it just starts to calm everything down in the mind, chills everything out. And I talk a lot about how supplements, we're playing the long game with supplements. And so you might not notice a huge shift in how you feel right away when you take even great quality supplements. GABA is one, you're typically going to feel it right away when you take it. So that's a nice one to add in. All right, let's talk about the liver and how the liver pertains to mood swings, short fuses, anger issues, because it plays a big role. So one of the reasons is that your liver plays a huge factor in regulating your blood sugar. When your liver is overburdened, that's one of the things that it, is not doing so good at, is regulating blood sugar. That plus everyone's on a high-fat diet, which is not conducive to healthy blood sugar. So when your blood sugar dips, you're going to get emotional. It's going to throw you off. You're going to feel funny. So a lot of people's irritability comes from not having their blood sugar levels stable throughout the day. And when we talk about blood sugar or healthy sugar, what does that come from? It's going to come from fruits, potatoes, raw honey, things like that. Things that people are, to some degree, they're afraid to eat. Now, there's some factions where, people are now even outside of medical medium who's been saying, he's been telling people this for decades and decades, but now other people are like, oh yeah, you should have some fruit. You should have copious amounts of healthy sugars throughout the day. Your liver will thank you. And when we talk about the liver, it needs cleanse. You need to learn how to take care of the liver. And depending on what's going on inside your body in terms of what's your toxic load, what's your pathogenic load, everyone's different. So some people are going to get huge benefit just from doing the liver cleanse. The morning cleanse. Other people are going to need to move into more advanced cleansing. Everyone's going to be totally different. So all you can do is just start to understand the framework and the protocols, which I've talked about in several other videos. You can go back and check those out. And then just figure out how far you need to take this. But if you play this out, if you just don't stop and you continue to advance, you'll get to the place where you're like, okay, now I'm healing. All right, heavy metals. As I mentioned before, heavy metals get passed down the family lines. So you have them. Even if you're telling yourself, I surely would know if I had heavy metals, they don't show up in a test, whatever. You have them. Everyone has them. They're in the air that you breathe. They're in, aluminum cans, tinfoil when you touch it. They're in pharmaceuticals. They're everywhere. And if these land in emotional centers in your brain, they can be very disruptive. And these can be behind even more intense mood disorders, mental health disorders, things like that. Yeah, heavy metals can play a huge, huge role. They deplete the neurons. They interfere with the electrical signals. Your brain has a huge electrical grid. And we all know what happens when you stick a fork in an outlet. Well, hopefully you don't. But if somebody were to stick a fork in an outlet, what's going to happen? You're going to short that circuit, right? Same thing happens on a smaller scale with heavy metals in the brain. It interrupts with the firing of your neurons. And that can lead to a host of emotional issues for sure. So the heavy metal detox smoothie, you want to be diligent in that, because sometimes, depending on how old those metals are, how many metals you have, if those metals have combined, it can take a while to pull out. But you want to be diligent with it. You know, that's my breakfast. That's been my breakfast every day since 2016. So you want to just keep going with it. One thing I didn't mention in here is just a viral load. If somebody has a high viral load, that's going to also deplete the neurotransmitters. So it's kind of covered up here in the neurotransmitters, but I didn't hit it exactly. So somebody just dealing with like a raging Epstein-Barr infection, that could be enough to make someone's mood unpleasant, to say the least. But yeah, that's what it does up here. So guys, that's it for today. If you have mood issues, it's just a sign that things are not physically firing well in the body. You can heal these things if you do enough of the right protocols for long enough. Healing takes place. It's not guesswork. It's just a matter of how many protocols are you going to need to do, and that can look widely different person to person. All right, talk soon.